Good day to everybody. And you're probably wondering why that you can see me talking but nothing's coming out. Well, it's because I forgot to turn the microphone on my camera. I just got a brand new camera, but my name is Farron, so happy. And we traveled up here to this abandoned house up in Northrup Canyon. And I am part of the Res Ghost Hunters located here in the Nispelem area and surrounding areas as well. And we came up here, and I want to tell each and every one of you guys that we are not here to disrespect anything in this house or the property. We just come up here like past investigators, and we wanted to find out what was going on. So we wanted to see this location, and we hiked up here. And this gentleman right here, his name is Tim Rivas. He is from Grand Coulee. He didn't know what to say at the moment, but he got his marbles together, and he was ready to kind of give us his take on his adventures of this house. And once again, due to the microphone not working on the camera, and we weren't going to hike an hour back up there, in the very near future we'll be getting words from every person that went up to Northrup Canyon. But this gentleman here, he was excited and he was ready to go, and he could not wait to get this investigation started up here at the Northrup Canyon house. This gentleman right here, his name is Walter Williams. He's one of the founding fathers of the Res Ghost Hunters, and he actually brought me in. So we hiked up here, and as you know, he was ready to go. He was ready to just rip and roar. As you can see, he's wearing his GoPro, and the first time up here for him as well. And it was a very long hike for each and every one of us. And let me tell you, we're all sitting there discussing what we were going to do. But he's like, you know what, let's just get this going right now. We cannot wait any longer. We hiked up here, and we're going to put all of this gear that we bought to the test. And we will see you guys very soon. This gentleman here is Brennan Valenzuela. He did not have a whole lot to say other than, hey man, let's get this going. I didn't hike up here for no reason. So we just got going. As you can see, Brennan's ready. This house right here in Northrup Canyon is an abandoned farmhouse from what we've seen, and supposedly very haunted, but in the later episode you will see that we will be throwing a little bit of history that we found on the internet. But we wanted to show you this location as it was an hour hike to get up there. But at the same time, as we was looking around, we noticed these two cabins right here. And from what we determined, one of them had to be a chicken coop, and the other one had to be like storage for feed. But as we looked inside, we kind of noticed the lighting was a little modern, and this house has been there since the late 1800s, early 1900s. So we just didn't want to go in there, take any chances. As we looked over to the other one, yeah, there was no way we were going to try to get to those bushes. So we just left it alone, and then we pursued on up to the house to see what else we could find. But yes, those bags right there, we will never know what those are. As you guys could see, it was pitch black, and I believe we were downstairs in the boiler room. And we were doing some photography down there. We was also doing EVP, and you can barely see the camera move around. You're going to see a flash here, right there. And then as we was asking questions, we caught a couple strange things that we could not explain. Here it comes right now. Listen to what they have to say. Stop an EVP. We could not identify those sounds whatsoever. Is this your house? Are you in here? 'Cause man, I can feel something strange in here. Talking to this device in my hand.
Can you tell us who you are?
Stopping recorder. As you can see, it's very dark in this basement, and this is one of the creepiest places in the entire house. Right there, you see the pantry, and we actually did an investigation inside the pantry, and those steps lead upstairs. But let me tell you something, it has a very eerie feeling when you're down there by yourself. And a lot of us have been down there by ourselves. I have even asked them to move those cupboards, and they didn't. But as you can see right here, we are just not sure which way we should go. And we keep kind of looking at the stairs, looking at the pantry, and we just don't have no clue what we should do next because things are just so weird and it feels so weird down here. But let me tell you something, if you ever go to this house and you go downstairs, maybe you can tell us what you feel, because when we were down there, we felt a lot of sadness as well as anger and a little bit of confusion. Once again, we're back down here, and we are looking all over the place. And as you can see, Brennan turned his night vision camera on. And for some reason, he got drawn over here to the pantry. He just felt like he had to be in there. And I was kind of walking around outside as well as back in the boiler room area. But Brennan just had to come back over here to the pantry and asked a couple questions, and he was just looking around. And then all of a sudden, we hear this door and we see this orb. And to me, it's too coincidental to have both things happen at once. And no doors ever closed when we were there. Nothing ever happened, and we can't really link the two together. So we're just trying to figure out what happened, and we were trying to debunk it. But at this time, as you can see, all the cupboards still look the same. There's no door going outside. So we cannot explain how that orb and the sound of that door could happen. But as you can see, Walter's standing right there. Brennan, once again, just got drawn back to underneath in the boiler room. He walks right by me, and I felt some really weird presences in there. But as you can see, Brennan just keeps walking, and he's determined to find something. And the rest of us were just kind of catching our breath. As you could hear him, he's asking if anybody's in there. And he just pans all over the room. He's looking for something. And we could never determine what he was looking for. As I mentioned, this boiler room here was just a very heavy feeling. And from the stories that we were told, I guess the family did get killed in this house. But we could never find the information out truly. And you can hear myself and Revis talking to one another. And he keeps walking to the back of the boiler room. And as you can see, there's a hot water tank. And you look around the corner, there's really nowhere else to go. And so Brennan is kind of stuck, and he doesn't know really what to do at the moment. And I know he was determined to catch something because he kept saying he had this feeling in this boiler room area. And he just could not shake this feeling whatsoever. He just kept looking, and he kept trying to determine where everything was at. And, you know, sometimes for us, your body tells you when something's not right. And I believe that's what Brennan is feeling at this time. But we just could not catch no evidence at this moment. And I know that he tried his hardest. And as you can still hear as he's walking, glass is shattering. And there you see Tim asking questions. There was just nothing there. And Brennan was trying like heck to find something, but there was just nothing there. He looked all over the place and wasn't sure if he was trying to ask any questions or maybe what he was thinking. But we will never know unless Brennan himself tells us at this time what he was trying to catch or what he was feeling or just if anything was wrong. We just don't know. And me and Walter were still standing outside. Tim was still in there with the EVP. But as you can see, Brennan just kind of looking for something, and we just could not find it. We tried and tried and tried to find something there, but we just didn't see nothing at all. We were looking for orbs that we didn't catch. We were listening for sounds.
Say one of our names, make some noise, something. Are you lonely? Trapped here?
There you see Tim. He is still asking away. And we are all trying to figure out what's in this boiler room because we heard that the family was hiding down here. And as you can still see, for some reason, Brennan keeps getting drawn back to this area. We just don't know why he was drawn back here. But then for some strange reason, I don't even think he notices. But was that an orb or a bug? You tell us, because to us it looked like an orb and there was a lot of bugs in this room. But at the same time, why would a bug come right towards the camera? And I know that he's using infrared light on his camera. And we just can't determine if that was an orb or a bug. So you message us and tell us what you think, because it would be appreciated with all you guys' help, especially for all you other investigators out there. But once again, this boiler room here at the Northrup Canyon Abandoned House, this happened as well. We didn't notice. Let me tell you, that was the creepiest thing we've ever heard. As you can see, we are still downstairs. And once again, we are back in the pantry. And as we mentioned, for some reason, this pantry here just has such a weird feeling in it. It kind of feels like somebody's hiding in here. And so Brennan and myself, we were standing in there, and he was looking around. He's looking at different things. Maybe we'll catch something. But we didn't catch any orbs. And then we start asking just random questions, asking, "Are you here?" We waited for a few seconds, and there was no response whatsoever. And I even asked him, "Move that can." And there was still no response. And so we were not trying to get discouraged about the pantry, because we feel that this pantry is probably the most active places in the entire house. And as we mentioned from the stories that we've read, is like the family that got killed in this house, I believe some of them hid in the pantry. You know, one time we're investigating here, and it said, "Hey, Brennan, hide." And Brennan was not even with us at the time. He was at home. And so, for some reason, this pantry just drew a liking to Brennan. And he was even asking questions, "What's my name?" We got no response. He was asking, "Who is here?" And we got no response. He was even asking them, "Show yourself to me. Show me that you are here." But once again, we had no response, and we just didn't know what to do anymore. I believe Tim even came over and he asked a couple questions like, "Hey, who's here?" And we caught nothing on audio whatsoever. A lot of the audio we caught was from the camera, and we did not catch anything in the pantry. And we stood there for the longest time trying to figure out what we could ask. And I believe we just kind of had enough. We couldn't ask any more questions. They wouldn't move the can. They wouldn't close the doors. And mind you, there's no power in this house. We even asked, "Turn the lights on," because there is a light bulb in there. But once again, nothing happened. And we just didn't know what to do anymore. And so I believe we all said, "Well, you know what? Maybe we should move on to the different part of the house, because this pantry is not really giving us anything anymore." And I'm not saying that we are giving up on this place, but the pantry, when you go there, it has a weird feeling in itself. And as you can see, we're all standing over there, and Brennan, once again, headed back towards the boiler room where the stove is. And as we kept saying, he just kept getting drawn to this little space right here. Because as you see, there's a wood stove right there. And the hot water tank straight back. And for some reason, he just had to come back. He was determined to find something that none of us will ever know. As we mentioned, the first time we was in this room, we did not really catch a whole lot other than the orb and a couple voices. There you see me standing with the camera, and I was really hesitant to walk around the corner because I felt something very weird, something very heavy. And we just could not put our finger on it. And Brennan was like, we just need to keep looking because I have a feeling something's down here. And so we kept looking and looking. I was panning with my camera everywhere. I was panning left, I was panning right. And I myself with my camera, I didn't catch nothing. And Brennan, he just kept wondering if we were going to catch something in this area because we know that other than the pantry, this little boiler room area here, there has to be something down there. There has to be something hiding down there. And we just could not put our finger on it. And as you can see, Brennan is determined to find something. We was even asking questions like, are you hiding down here? And we got no response. And I believe we might have caught a couple orbs, but then as you can see, they're just bugs flying around. So we kind of squashed that and we figured, well, those are not orbs because they are flying around. And it just didn't really mean nothing. So we stood back there asking all kinds of questions, and I believe Walter and Tim were still outside of the boiler room, and they were just kind of gathering their marbles because we have gone through a lot in this household in a short time. But for some reason, this location here just kept calling Brennan's name, and he was determined to find something, as I mentioned, and we just did not catch anything anymore. As I mentioned, maybe the spirits left the house and didn't want to talk to us anymore. Maybe they didn't want to be around us. They did not want to show themselves to us. But he kept just looking and looking, as you can see. And we still have our IR lights on. And Brennan and myself are the only ones who have IR light cameras. Walter has GoPro cameras. And we also had an app that Tim had on his phone called, I believe, Ghost Box that we were trying to do at the session. But we were just not catching anything whatsoever. And we were not trying to get discouraged. We were like hoping something was going to move, something was going to happen. We was going to hear some type of noise. But after a while, it was dead silent. But a lot of the nooks and crannies that you see in here would be perfect hiding spots for people if they were looking to hide from somebody, because this room is very, very, very dark. If we were to turn our IR light cameras off, it would be pitch black. Even like when you see the light come from outside because there's no door downstairs, even then, this room is pitch black. And I know that Brennan was just determined to find something, but after a while we kind of figured, we're not going to catch nothing because maybe we scared them off. Maybe they're hiding from us, reliving that moment of terror this family had. And so as you can see Brennan coming back, Tim is standing there with his app trying to ask questions if anybody was there. And I believe that's also the SB7 spirit box as well. And we were just trying to get any type of information from anything down here, because Brennan and Tim were the only ones in this location. As you can see, myself and Walter, we're not even around the area. We are nowhere to be found. But Tim and Brennan were the only ones that were here. And, we cannot dismiss the fact that maybe the spirits have gone and they just got sick of us. We will never know until they answer our questions.
It just said here, didn't it? Are you here with us? Oh, wow.
Where you at?
Can you make this device go off in my hand? If you step next to me, you should be able to make the energy read and spike. Really? What's that? Will you please do it? Are you here in the pantry? What?
What's in my hand?
Where are you? Are you wanting us to go upstairs?
Where do you want Brennan to hide?
Is there more than one spirit here? Is there more than one person here? Are you touching me? Are you stuck in here?
The last footage that we caught is this photo right here in the boiler room. As you can see, there's nothing there, and all of a sudden, you see this black shadow, and that is something that we'll never be able to explain ever in our lifetime. Oh man. Let me tell you something. This location here did not disappoint. I hope you've enjoyed this, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be coming to you from the Northrup abandoned house once again in the near future. My name is Farron. So happy on behalf of Brennan Valenzuela, Tim Rivas, and Walter Williams, all the guys who were up here for the Res Ghost Adventures. We will see you next time.